Hi everyone, Mr. Rampant here, and today I'm going to show you how to make games in a program called Clickteam Fusion. Now, you might have been to my website, spacekoala.com, and you might be wondering, oh, Mr. Rampant, he's a teacher, how on earth does he have the time to make games when he's so busy teaching us things? So the reason I do is because I use this program, Clickteam Fusion, and it's pretty simple to use. So there's no coding involved, it's not actually that complicated. So we're going to have a look at how to use it. The good thing about making games is that it helps us with problem solving. So it makes us a little bit smarter. And it also gives us computer skills, okay? Computers are very important in this day and age. Almost every job uses them, so you want to have some good computer skills. So let's dive in and make a game. Okay, so I'm in Clickteam Fusion. And I see this screen, okay, with a lot of advertising over here. What I want to do is start a new application, okay? This program calls our games applications. So I'm going to go File, New, okay? And it's taking me to this screen now. I'll explain this screen just quickly. Over here is our workspace, okay? Workspace is everything in our game so far. So our game is up here, application. It's got one frame. Here's the frame over here in the frame editor, okay? Think of frames like you would have done a storyboard before in your classes. This is like the storyboard for our game. It's going to have every single screen that our game has, okay? And when I click on this screen, all these properties pop up over here, okay? Every object in your game will have properties. Properties are things that belong to that object or descriptions of the things in your game. So my properties are teacher, okay? My job is teacher, that's my job property. My t-shirt property is orange t-shirt. Okay, so t-shirt, orange, that's the property. So everything's got a property and we'll use them a lot. I'm going to double click on frame 1. Okay, and there's nothing in it. Okay, if I go up here to run application, it's a pretty boring game because there's nothing in it. It's empty. So I need to put some things in my game. And the first thing I want to do is put a title in. Okay, we're going to make a game called Tag. So I want to put a title down. Well, first of all, I'm going to fill up this white void. I'm going to make a backdrop object. So I'm going to double click. And I'm going to go down to background. Okay, background means things that are in the background. I'm going to click on quick backdrop. Okay, I want to make a quick backdrop, a quick background. Put that down and it makes this gray square. This gray square I can click on, move it around. It's got these handles on the side. I can pull the handles and resize it. So I'll resize it to be the size of my frame. Okay. And, well, gray's pretty boring, so I'm going to change the properties of the box. So I'm going to go over here to the properties and click on the cog. And so far, its shape is rectangle. That's fine because our screens are rectangles. That works for us. Fill, so fills everything in the middle, is a solid color, and that solid color is gray. Well, I don't want gray as a solid color, so I'm going to click on that and change it. And I might do a nice light pink. Oh, that's much better. That's more interesting than gray. I can change type to gradient. And now it gives me, it goes from pink to white. And I can change that to be purple or something. So it gives me two colors for a gradient. If I click on vertical gradient, it does it vertical. But I'm going to use this one called motif, or motif. And it gives me like a picture that it tiles. So it's one picture, it's an X, but it's tile it for however big we resize this box to. It's pretty cool. That's a cool background in itself, but I'm going to edit it. I'm going to hit edit, and we're in our picture editor. All right. You can use this magnifying glass to zoom in. You can use, well, you've used painting programs before. You can click around and paint and all that. All right, that's going to be a weird background. So I might want something a bit nicer. I'm going to go over here to the selection tool. Well, everything has shortcuts, by the way. You can press B to get the selection tool. I'm going to highlight everything. I'm going to press delete. Oh, now it's giving me this checkerboard pattern. And this is the transparent color. So I can click over here and I can draw the transparent color, but it's no good because it's see-through. I don't want see-through. I want that nice pink color again. So click on pink in my palette over here. Click on the fill tool. Great. And I might do boxes now. I might do a checkerboard pattern. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to select white. And I'm going to draw a white square. Here might do. And another one down there. And I'm going to get the fill tool and just fill in those white ones. Oh, look at that. It's left a gap. Here's a handy tip. So you have two mouse buttons, right? You've got a left and a right. If you right click on a color, that color pops into the one you're drawing with. And I'm just going to draw a couple of lines there. Now I've got two boxes. And now I hit OK, and I've got my checkerboard background. It needs a title now, but I want it to look really cool. So I'm going to go to Google, and I'm going to type in cool. It's already in my thing. Title maker, cool title maker. Search for it. This website, cooltext.com, is pretty good. So I'm going to click on that. And it gives you some options for how you want your title to look. Keen looks pretty good. So I can click on Keen. And I'm going to type in tag your it. And it's generated my title for me. So I want to put this in my game because it looks good. I'm going to right click on it. I'm going to go save image as. It's going to save it to my downloads folder. That's good. I'm just going to change its name to tag title.png because it's a PNG file. I'm going to hit save. And it's downloaded it. So let's go have a look in our downloads. All right, go to downloads, tag your it. So I don't want that there though. All right, I don't want this in my downloads because sometimes I clear out my downloads folder if it gets too full of things. So I'm going to save it somewhere where I can keep it. And I know where it is. So I'm going to right click on that. I'm going to go cut because I want to move it from here. I want to cut it out of here and paste it somewhere else. I'm going to click on documents. Okay. I'm not going to paste it here though, because if I just pasted everything I'm working on here, that would be a mess. So I'm going to make a folder. I'm going to call that folder assets. Okay. Assets is a fancy word for things you use in your work. Okay. So assets for an animation, assets for a film, assets for a game. I'm going to make another folder. And I'm going to call it Click Fusion, and that's where I'm going to put my Click Fusion programs that I'm working on. Okay, so I'm going to double click on assets. Wow, such empty. I'm going to make new folder, and I'm going to call this one titles. Okay, and now I'm going to paste it in here. All right, so I'm going to hit paste. Great, so I know where to find that now. I'm going to click back on Click Fusion. I'm going to make a new object. I'm going to double click. Okay, I want a backdrop object. I'm going to paste that in. Okay, there's my backdrop object. I can move it around, all that stuff. I can resize it. All right, but I want this to be my title. So I'm going to double click on the backdrop object. I'm going to import the picture I just did. So I'm going to go up here to this icon that looks like a folder. It says import. I'm going to click on that. What you want to do is click on libraries and click on documents. All right, so I'm in documents. I double click on assets. I double click on titles. I double click on tag you're it. I'm going to go through here. Transparent, that's fine. Yep, okay. And now it's in our thing. Don't forget you can zoom in and out using this magnifying slider. Oh, and it's the perfect size for my screen. I don't need to change it. Very important to save your game. So I'm going to go to documents. And remember we made this folder called ClickFusion. Double click on that. I'm going to call my game tag.mfa and save. And every time, you want to get in the habit of every time you do something meaningful in your program, just pressing the save icon or pressing Control S on your keyboard to save your game. Now, I want to get off this screen. I want to make my game now. So I need to tell my players how to get off this screen. So I'm going to make one more quick backdrop object. Okay. And this is going to be instructions for them. So I'm going to make it to be a good little size. In my game, pressing X is going to have the player shoot something. So I want to teach the people playing my game to press X. So that's going to be their first instruction, is press X on the keyboard. So I'm going to make the background color white because I'm going to put text on this. With this border, I'm going to put that up 2 pixels. All right, now I've got a little box to put some text in. I need to make a string object. I'm going to double click. I'm going to go down to, I think there's one called text. Yep, text. And I want a string object. So double click on that. And now I've got this text box here that I can put instructions in. All right. I'm going to double click on it and I'm going to type press X to start. And I might put quotation marks around X to make it stand out. Now, this is very small. Not really how I want it. So I'm going to change the properties of this box. And I look over here, the only property it gives me is what it says, press X to start. So I need to go into a different options. And I want to click on this one, text options. And we got font, which is how the font looks. I can make it bold, italics, underline, bold, italics, can underline it for some reason. I can change the color. I can change the alignment. That's pretty handy actually. I'm going to make it center aligned, so now it's in the middle. I need it to be bigger, so I'm going to click on font, and I'm going to, you can change it to whatever fonts you have on your computer. You just need to remember though, if the person who's playing your game doesn't have those fonts, then it's not going to show up on their computer. So I usually stick to common fonts like Verdana. I'm going to change the size to 26. There we go. There's my instruction. Press X to start and I'll just center it. Now the problem is if I go run application and I press X, nothing happens because I haven't told the program what to do when somebody presses X. So we're going to do that now. We're going to go up here and you've got these little purple blocks. The first one is the storyboard editor. So that's where my frames are, right? The second one is the global event editor. These are turned gray, but if I select my first frame editor takes us into here, okay? Event editor takes us to this screen, and this is where our we tell the computer what to do. And we have to give it a condition. A condition is just a fancy way of saying what needs to happen. So I click on condition, it brings up the new condition window. I can do special program stuff, I can do frame stuff, new objects, player, sound, timer. I want this one that says mouse and keyboard. And I want to do the keyboard, and when the player presses a key, upon pressing a key, and that key is X, upon pressing X, so there's our condition. Our condition is when somebody presses X, we want to do something. I want to go to the next frame. This kind of picture of a chessboard and a knight, or a little horse, that's for controlling the frames. This third box here, I right click on that. Next frame. Okay, we want to go to the next frame. And now when I go run application and I press X, it closes the program because there's no next frame, but at the moment it's doing what we want it to. So I'm going back to the storyboard editor. Great, that's exciting. Now we can make our game. I'm going to click on this 2. And that's made a new frame for us, an empty frame. So if I run my program again, run application, and I press X, it's taken me to this blank frame with nothing in it. So this is going to be our game. So let's open that up. It's empty. So we need to make a character. So I'm going to double click. All characters and things that do stuff in your games are actives. Okay? So I'm going to double click on this active and place him down. And it's giving me the diamond, which I'm going to change to my character. So double click on that. And let's zoom in, because this diamond shape's no good. I'm going to press Control A to select everything. I'm going to hit delete. And I'm going to draw my character. And I'm going to draw a little Pac-Man guy. So I've clicked on the circle tool, I've clicked on the filled circle tool, and I'm going to draw a big circle. You can draw whatever you like. Down here is what directions my character is facing, and so far I'm drawing him facing right. So I'll draw a circle over here for his eye and give him a black pupil. Might use the pen tool for this. There we go. So he looks a bit shocked, doesn't he? I might give him a smile. Great. He's facing right. Now, this is very important because it's something which will be annoying. I'm going to view this hotspot thing, and I'm going to make sure the hotspot is in the middle. Okay? Because when we flip him around, this is where it's going to flip. So that's fine, that's in the middle, and I can hit center to make sure it's in the middle of that one. Okay. When he's looking this way, nothing's there. So I want to copy him. Copy. Don't forget you can use keyboard shortcuts, Control C to copy as well. I'm going to click on the left facing one, and I'm going to paste that in. But he's still facing right, which is no good. So I'm going to go up here to flip horizontally, and now he's facing the other way. And that's all the animations I need for him. So I'm going to hit OK. And great, he's in my program. He needs a name. So at the moment he's called active, which is not fun. So I'm going to change his properties, and I'm going to go over to his about, this is like his profile, and change his name to player. Okay. If I run the game, run application, hit X, there's our character, but he doesn't move, he doesn't do anything. So I need to tell him to do something. So I'm going to click on him, and I'm going to change his properties. I'm going to change his movement properties and type. We've got lots of different types of movements. Okay, bouncing ball, path, mouse, 8 directions, race car, platform. Physics, quite good. Okay. For him, I want him to be 8 directions. I'm going to hit try movement, And there he goes. All right, and he turns the directions that we've given him. He's moving way too fast, okay? He's going to be hard to control. So, I want to change his speed to be maybe 25, maybe half of what it is. Hit try movement again. That's a bit better. It's a speed that I think will be a bit more manageable for my players. These words, deceleration and acceleration, is how quickly he slows down, how quickly he speeds up. If they're higher than the speed, then it's going to happen more quickly. If they're lower than the speed, it's going to take more time. So you can fiddle around with those numbers and just see what works for you. I want to make a bad guy now. And I'm going to... Well, first of all, I'm going to teach you about making new objects. I could copy and paste this guy, but if I changed one of these, all right, so say I want to make my bad guy red. It's changed him as well, because they're both the player. They're both the same object, so that's no good. I'll undo that, or I'll make him yellow again. And delete that second player. I can't just copy and paste him. I've got to clone him. I've got to make a new one. So I'll right click on him and go clone object. Okay, duplicates, just going to make a copy. Clone objects, going to make a whole new thing. And they've changed his name to player 2 because he's a completely new thing. So I don't want his name to be player 2. I want his name to be enemy. Okay, or you can call him Sam or Fred or whatever you want. And I want his color to be red. And I've got to remember to change every frame, so him facing this way as well. Okay. I might make sure these guys aren't too close to each other. His movement... I can't make him 8 directions because if I run the game, and I'll tell you about some shortcuts. Application, you can just press F8 on your keyboard to quickly run your application. If you just want to play the frame that you're in, you can hit F7. And if I move using the keyboard, they move the same, so him having 8 directions movement is no good. I want to change his movement type, the enemy's movement type, to bouncing ball. And so far his speed is 60. I want him to be 25, same as the player. Alright, now when I hit F7 and run, he runs off on his own. Alright, but he's run away, which is no good. We need to tell him to come after the player. So now I need to give him some code. I need to give him some conditions. So I'm going to go to the event editor. I'm going to make a new condition. I'm going to click on the timer. And I'm going to tell it every, let's do 2 seconds. Every 2 seconds. Now, he's the one I'm telling what to do. I'm telling the enemy what to do. All right, so we need him to look at our player. So I'm going to right click on his box and go direction. Select directions, no good. We want to look in the direction of, and I can move this around to be where I want him to look to, but I want him to look at the player every 2 seconds, change where he's looking at and move towards that player. So I'm going to click on the player. And now down here it says relative to the player. That's great. Click OK. And now when I run the program, every couple of seconds, he comes back and gets a bit closer to the player. All right, so it's kind of turning into tag now. Tag, you're it. He's running after me. What can we make next? Lives. Okay, so every time he hits the player, it's going to take a life off. So click up here, double click, make a new object. L-I-V-E, lives. Okay. Oh, and it's already given us a You can change this picture, by the way, but hearts usually mean health in games. All right, every time he bounces in to my player, we're going to take one of these off. We're going to lose a life. So let's go into our event editor, new condition. When the enemy collides with another object, the player, so collision between enemy and player, we want to take a life away. Now, lives are handled in this joystick 1. All right, this is player 1. So number of lives. So eventually you'll have lots of conditions. And so you've got to move along this line to the box that matches up between the condition and the object. Okay, so number of lives, subtract from number of lives. We're taking one away. We're taking one away. All right, so I'm going to type 1 up here. And now when I run my program, and I'm not going to move, so he'll come back to me. Ooh, and he's run into me and taken a life off. Now he runs through me, which is no good. So I want him to bounce off me. So enemy, movement, bounce. Okay, and that could happen to the player too. The player can bounce off him as well. So I'm going to drag bounce over here. Now we have 3 things that happen when this condition is met. Let's test it. There we go, he bounced off me. Great. And if I run into him, I bounce off him. All right, we've got lives. We need a score now. So I'm going to double click. I'm going to type in score. There we go, score button. I'm going to move my score up here into this corner. How am I going to do score? Well, every now and then the enemy's going to drop a coin, and when I pick up the coin, that's going to increase my score. So I'm going to double click, make a new active. Okay, active. Now it doesn't make sense if the coins are as big as these characters, so I'm going to shrink this down to the size I want it to be. Yep, double click on it. Control A, select all, delete, and make my coin. My character's already yellow, so yellow coin won't make sense. Let's do an orange one. Okay, and maybe I'll draw a little $sign in that. There we go. And I'm going to give him the name of coin. And I'll put him in the middle. So I wanted when the player runs into the coin, it adds to my score. So I click events, new condition, player collides another active object, coin. All right, collision between player and coin. Well, first thing I want to do is delete the coin, destroy it, because you want him to make it seem like he's picked it up. So destroy coin. Everything for player 1 is handled in the player 1 joystick. So under the joystick, I'm going to go to score. I'm going to put add to score. I'm going to put 1. All right, now when I run my game and I run into the coin, my score's gone up to 1. Okay, how are we going to get more coins? I think every now and then I'm going to have the red guy, the enemy, drop a coin. So new condition, timer, every, let's say 3 seconds. Every 3 seconds, we want him to drop a coin, okay? We do that with create new object, all right? See this box with a little yellow star next to it? That's create new object. So I'm gonna find where this matches up with create new object, right click on it, create object, coin. And I wanted the red guy to drop them. So click on the red guy, click on enemy, and if I run my game, there we go, he's dropped a coin, so I'll go pick that one up. Dropped another coin, I'll go pick that up. Okay. Fun. Oh, he just took 2 lives off me at once. It's cheeky. I'm going to make it a bit hard because it's pretty easy for me to keep away from him. So I'm going to make him shoot a bullet at me. Okay, and I want the bullets to be maybe about this size. So double click on that. Control A, select all, delete. Let's draw a bullet shape. I'll show you how to animate as well. So his bullets can be purple. I'll draw like a little wobbly thing. Okay. I'm going to make a new frame. I'm going to press the plus button, clone frame. Okay. And I might shrink this. Put it in the center. Make it darker purple. Okay, it's up to you. You do what feels right for you. Draw around it again. Clone. Alright, here's my third frame. Shrink it. This is just how I animate this sort of thing. You can do what you like. Make it get a bit lighter again. Alright. Hit play. So it only played the animation once and it played it very quickly, so that's no good. I need to click here, direction options. I'm going to change the speed to 10. I'm going to tell it to loop back to frame 1 when it gets to the end. There we go, there's our bullet. So let's hit OK on that. I'm going to call it bullet. Actually, I'm going to call it enemy bullet. Okay, because maybe I'll make bullets for my player as well. And I'm going to hide that off the screen. And I'm going to say every 3 seconds, he's not just going to drop a coin, he's also going to shoot a bullet. And we go to enemy, launch an object. Okay, shooting's called launching in this. Enemy bullet. Launch in direction of, well, first of all, 100's going to go too quick, so I'm going to change it to 50. Launch in direction of player. Let's put it back to 100. I'm going to change it to 50. F7 play. Get that coin. Oh, there we go. So he just shot at me. But if his bullets hit me, it doesn't actually take any damage off. So I need to tell it, new condition, when enemy bullet collides with another object, player. Now this is very important. You've got to destroy the bullet so it doesn't keep colliding with the player. And we've got to take number of lives, subtract 1. All right, so we've got 5 conditions so far. Every 2 seconds, have the enemy look at the player. When the enemy collides with the player, or other way around, subtract 1 from lives, bounce the player, bounce the enemy. When the player collides with the coin, add 1 to score, destroy the coin. Every 3 seconds, create a coin at the enemy. Have the enemy shoot a bullet at the player. And then when the bullet hits the player, subtract 1 from number of lives and destroy the bullet. Okay? We're going to make a player bullet. And just like I did with the enemy bullet, like I did with the player, we're going to clone this enemy bullet. Clone. Alright, it's made it underneath. It's called enemy bullet 2. No, I want to call it player bullet, makes more sense. So I'm going to change its name under its properties to player bullet. Purple doesn't make sense. It'll be confused with the enemy one. So I'm going to change all these frames to be kind of green colors. How's that look? Great. Okay. Keep that off screen. And go to Event Editor. And first thing we're going to do is press X to shoot. So I'm going to go to the mouse keyboard just like I did on that first frame. Upon pressing a key, X, and like what we did with the enemy, go to player, launch an object, play a bullet, 50, launch. Well, it's too easy if it just homes in on the enemy, right? So we're going to go use the direction of player. Right. And so now I'm going to test this because it's going to be very fun. If I hit X, he shoots. Okay. But nothing happens because I need to tell it when player bullet collides with enemy, destroy player bullet, destroy enemy. Got him. But then the game's over, which is no fun. So I want to make a new bad guy, okay, every time one disappears. So what I might do is, I might start to give my level some shape. Up here I'm going to do a cave where the bad guys come out of. And my cave's going to be a backdrop object. Backdrop, I want it to be about, yeah, this size. Select all, and I'm going to draw something cave-like, all right? Looks good. And you kind of got a bit of light going into a cave, so something like that. All right, this is going to be a grey rock wall up here. This is going to be where the light's going into the cave. This is going to be the cave. All right, there's my cave. Now, I don't want the player to be able to go through this. So, first of all, I'm going to name it cave. Going to go here to options, runtime options, obstacle. Okay, an obstacle, like you've heard of an obstacle course, right? An obstacle is something that can like impact you, that you have to overcome. So I'm going to change it to obstacle type obstacle. And that means the player can collide with it now. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to go new condition, player collides with backdrop, bounce player, and now when player collides with this, he bounces off it. But I'm going to make it every let's do 2.5 seconds. Every 2.5 seconds, we'll create an enemy in front of the cave. Let's see how that goes. I wonder if that'll be too many enemies. Oh, there he goes. Yeah, that's too often. So let's do every 4 seconds. Create an enemy in front of the cave. All right, and it's giving me the coordinates where in front of that cave is. I'll do the rest of the cave now. So we'll do a quick backdrop. Down there. Order 2 back. Okay. And I want to change its obstacle type to obstacle. I'm going to call it cave wall. And over here, it's not quite the same gray. So I'm going to go to other, see the select tool? Click on that, click on there. And now it's the same kind of shade. And because I've set this cave wall, I've set its obstacle type as obstacle, the player can run into that and have trouble. Can't go through it. But these guys are still going through it, which is no good. So I need to make it so that when the enemy collides with backdrop, bounce enemy. See how that goes. Great. I'm out of lives already. I might want to boost up my lives. How you can boost up lives is click on your tag game up here. And it's on the runtime options. Go down here, initial number of lives. Let's change that to 6. And there we go. Now we've got 6 hearts. So it should take us a while to die now. They went down quite quick though. I tell you what's making it hard. With every one of these guys shooting at us at once, makes it really tricky. So I'm going to make this every 3 seconds. I'm going to add another condition to it. I'm going to go insert. See this enemy? Pick enemy at random. So every 3 seconds, it's going to pick one of those guys at random. All right, you shot me, that makes sense. Now there's 2 of them. Only one is shooting at me. These 2 guys are stuck on each other. Oop. Get the coins. Great, the game's a bit easier now, and the player won't be as frustrated. Okay, you've probably noticed that our characters can run off the screen, all right, which is not ideal. So we're going to make that, so we're going to make it so that that doesn't happen. We're going to click on new condition. We're going to click on player, and we're going to click on position and test position of player. And then it brings up a picture of the frame. We want to click on the arrow that's leaving the frame up the top. It's leaving the screen on the right, down the bottom, and on the left. And that translates that to player leaves the play area. And if the player tries to leave the play area, we want to bounce them. And we want the enemy to bounce when trying to leave as well. So I'm going to show you a good trick. I'm going to drag leaves the play area down to new condition, and it's copied that condition, but it hasn't put in any like events yet. So I'm going to change player by double clicking on him, change him to enemy, and now that's turned into if enemy leaves the play area. And I want to bounce the enemy, and I can just drag bounce from the player column to the enemy column. So let's see if that works. Yep, player bounces off the wall. Enemy bounces off the wall. Perfect. My enemies can still run into each other. So I want to make it so that enemies bounce off each other as well. So I'm going to click new condition. Enemy collides with enemy. bounce enemy. Okay. And now the enemies should, another one comes in, try and get these guys to bounce into each other. There we go. They bounce off each other now. They can't be in the same place at the same time. Very good. Now I need a win and a lose state, okay? Because if a game can't be finished, there's not much point to it, right? So I'm going to go back to the storyboard editor. I'm going to make 2 new frames, okay? So I'm going to click on the 3, because pop in my 3rd frame. I'm going to title these frames, actually. I'm going to change frame 1 to be called title. Frame 2 is going to be called game. Frame 3 is going to be called win. And frame 4 is going to be called lose. So I just made 2 new frames. One I've titled win, one I've titled lose. I'm going to go into win. And I'm going to make a new string. string string. Pop that in. Or actually, I'll show you something useful. I can go up here to title. Click on that. That shows me all the objects in the title frame. And I'll drag string out here. And that's put the string from title into this frame. And you don't have to worry about if you change on this frame, it's going to change on the other. No, this is just the instance of title on this frame. So I'll change this one to say, you win, exclamation mark. Okay, so when the player wins the game, he's going to come to this screen. Back to storyboard editor. I'm going to go to the lose frame. I'm going to grab the string off the win frame, drag it in here. As you can see, it's just popped up in lose. And I'm going to change it to you lose. Okay. Now I'm going to go back to storyboard editor. I'm going to go back to my game. I'm going to go to event editor. And I'm going to make a win and a lose situation. I'm going to click on new condition. And I'm going to go to player 1 because it's player 1's lives that we're checking. When lives reach 0, okay, I need to change the storyboard controls. I need to jump to frame, lose. I can't do next frame because next frame after game is win. I need to go to lose. So I go to frame 4, lose. Also, if the player collects, or let's say 20 coins, so if remembering we're adding to the score, so compare to player's score, if score equals 20, let's make it 25. 25, jump to frame, win. Okay, let's test that. Oh, actually, here's what's not going to work. If all these guys kill me, then nothing's going to happen. And that's because I just ran the frame. If you go run frame, it's going to ignore any jump to frames or next frames. So I've got to run the entire game. All right, press X. And I'll just stand around so these guys can shoot me. You lose. All right, that works. And how I can make it easy for me to win is I can copy and paste coins everywhere. The other thing I can do is just drag coins off here. All right, what's next? So what if you want your play area to be a bit bigger? And first of all, I'm going to make some ground. So new quick background, solid color motif. Let's change that motif to be some brown dirt, I guess. There we go. It's not great, but it'll do. And we want to go, we want to make the frame a bit big. So I'm going to click on game. Now here are the properties for my frame. So far it's 640 by 480. What if I double those? 1280 by 920. All right, it's made my level much bigger. So I'm going to make this much bigger. And I need to make this much bigger. Okay, go back to events. New condition. Special conditions. We have to use a special condition. That special condition is always. And over here to storyboard control, always scrollings center the window position on the player. Okay. Now, our play area's gotten a lot bigger. All right, this might make the game a bit easier. Something else that'll also make the game a bit easier, if they're all coming out of this cave, then why don't we just make some trees or something, or rocks. Rocks are easier to draw. Oh, no, I'll draw a tree. There we go, quick tree. Its trunk is the same color as the floor, I'll make it darker. There we go, quick tree. Make it a bit bigger. I'll call it tree. Obstacle, yes. Put that coin in the middle. And I can put coins wherever I want by copying and pasting them. Alright, so there's lots of coins for the player to pick up. Alright, I'm just copying and pasting these. You can hold down Control and drag something to copy it. Or you can pull it out of here. Alright, let's hit run. Alright, suddenly my game's a lot more fun now. I need to tell those bullets to bounce off the trees. Or to destroy when they hit the trees. So, enemy bullet collides with tree. Collides with backdrop. It's a backdrop object. Enemy bullet collides with backdrop. Destroy enemy bullet. Player bullet collides with tree. Destroy player bullet. Last thing is sound. Okay, so I'll teach you about sound. This column here, sound, we can play a sound when things happen, but I need to get some sounds. So I can go to a website called opengameart.org, and all these headphones with the play buttons, they're all sounds that you can download. Okay, so have a look for coin. Might be a coin sound. Here we go. Oh, that's a good one. So I'll click on that. And I'll download it. And I'm going to put it in my assets. I'm going to make new assets for sounds. So I'm going to copy it or cut it out of downloads, paste it into sounds. And then when player collides with coin, I can right click samples, play sample, browse from file, get out of titles, go to sounds, pick up coin, and now every time I run into that, it plays the sound. Okay. I'll do an explosion sound for when the player dies. That's great. Let's grab that. That's good for our shooting, isn't it? It's our shooting sound effect. So save that. Put it in there. I'm getting these sound files as I need them, but what you would normally do is you would normally spend like a bit of time browsing, finding things that you want. Explosion.wave. I think we need that for when we shoot. Great. Now, all these. Okay, so that's our game. I hope you have a lot of fun making games. It's something I enjoy doing. And you can use game making to tell stories. You can use game making to just keep yourself busy. I hope you've learned a lot about making games. I've only shown you how to make a very simple game. You can take this to the next step. You can make a lot more complicated games and have a lot of fun doing it. So that's all from me. Have fun making games.